AT&T Broadband Channel 3. I'm Dave Stevens along with Tom Ring, and reporting from the pits, Gary Danko. We're at Stafford Motor Speedway. Tom, it's our second visit this year to Stafford Motor Speedway. Which drivers should we be keeping an eye on?
Dave, one guy to keep an eye on, obviously enough, is Brad Layton. He won the last Busch North race a week ago up at New Hampshire International Speedway. He also looked like he was going to win the last time we were here at Stafford until Kelly Moore kind of moved him out of the way in a late race pass. Moore himself is another driver I think we should look at, as well as Mike Johnson. He won the ASB 150 last year right here at Stafford.
Gary Danko caught up with Brad Layton and talked to him about his win at New Hampshire International Speedway. Gary?
Well, thanks, Dave. Just 1 week ago at the New Hampshire International Speedway, great run for you. Tell us about that bonsai move.
Yeah, it was a great move. You know, the only option I had was on Martin. I got a good run up all four, and the lap car of Paul Richardson pulled down and gave me enough room to get in by it. Worked out to our advantage. It was a great race for the fans. That's what they needed. It was a tough day there, hot day, long day, and turned out really well for the Burnham Boilers team.
Last time that the NASCAR Busch North Series was here at the Jackaroo Stafford Motor Speedway, you had a good race car, but late in the race, contact with Kelly Moore.
Yeah, that was one of them racing deals. You know, I thought the yellow was out, and I don't believe Kelly saw it, so we ended up spinning around, finishing second. You know, Kelly had a better car than I did, and it worked out well. I mean, he finished first, I finished second, so, you know, we hope to repeat that performance tonight.
Well, Brad Layton is going to try to pick up his third victory of the 2001 season here tonight at the Jackaroo Stafford Motor Speedway. Dave?
Thanks, Gary. When we come back, we'll have the start of the ASB 150 from Stafford Motor Speedway on Speedway Heat, AT&T Broadband Channel 3. For tonight's
ASB 150.
Thank you, the ASB 150. I almost said it wrong. There's Kelly Moore and the Napa Auto Parts machine. He's going to set the pace. On the outside, Matt Kobieluk is alongside in the number 40. Row 2, Martin Truex Jr. And on the outside of Truex, it's going to be Teddy Christopher in the Les Care machine. Brian Chu qualified 5th in the 09. Alongside is, of course, Dale Shaw in the guaranteed overnight delivery number 60. Tracy Gordon in the 14. Mike Olson rides on the outside in the Little Trees number 61. Dale Quarterly having a pretty good year in the number 32. He's alongside the 36 of Brad Boisenot on the outside. Brian Wall also doing very, very well. And he makes up row number 6 along with Mike Johnson in the number 96. Last year's winner of this event at Stafford Motor Speedway. Dave Stevens along with Tom Ring, and the green flag is in the air.
We do want to mention the guy who won the pole tonight, that 13 car you see right there, Teddy Christopher, before the redoors.
And we've got a problem over there in turn 2. You just caught a glimpse of it. Layton goes around, and no yellow because Layton's one of those masters that can go around and keep the car going. We've seen him do it before. He didn't want to, but he managed to stay going in the right direction. And he'll just have a little more work for himself to do as one lap is complete in the ASB 150 here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Kelly Moore, Martin Truex Jr., Matt Kobieluk, Brian Chu up to 4th position in the 09. Dale Shaw is back there somewhere. Teddy Christopher is riding in 5th in the 13. Christopher takes a look on the inside. In the front, it's Kelly Moore, the Napa Auto Parts 47. Martin Truex Jr.
Kelly Moore pretty much picks up where he left off last time he was here. Of course, when we were here back in June, he was the winner of the race. Martin Truex Jr. has been running very well lately.
Shot from the Johnson Walker speed camp.
Return to that battle, or at least we take a look at the front of the field. Not quite a battle at this point.
3 laps complete, 150 laps on the second longest speedway in Connecticut. Kelly Moore, Martin Truex Jr., Matt Kovaluk. Also, Kovaluk having a pretty good year so far this year, Tom.
Absolutely.
Settled down quite a little bit, not quite as crashy as he used to be.
Well, Matt Kovaluk is an aggressive driver, always has been, and I think one of the things he's learning is that you're racing 150 laps or so every week, and aggression sometimes becomes your own worst enemy. And, you know, this early in the race, first through fifth, whatever, you know, it doesn't really matter. You want to settle in, you want to make sure the car is working. Kelly Moore talked last week about the important thing at Stafford Speedway is having a car that you feel comfortable in, accumulating the laps, saving the tires. So, you know, that's exactly what Matt Kovaluk has to do as well, as we see Kelly Moore trying to do that right now.
Pretty consistent effort throughout the field as nobody's really pulling away, nobody's really falling back. It is single file on the racetrack right now with Kelly Moore, Martin Truex Jr., Matt Kovaluk, and Brian Chu. And everybody is single file, Tom. I don't see really any double file racing at all, except for the very, very back. And those drivers have nowhere to go but forward, so they'll give it a shot. You see Brian Chu in the 09 Buzz 2 Auto Group machine just behind Matt Kovaluk in the Mohegan Sun sponsored number 40.
Most of the drivers are going to get pretty comfortable. Obviously, guys who didn't do well in qualifying are going to want to pick up, you know, while the field is close together, are going to try to pick up positions. Somebody like Brad Layton, we saw him spin. He's going to try to pick up positions before the field stretches out too much. Dave Dion is here. He started the race in 29th. He's a guy who's going to want to work his way through the field, or 20th, I'm sorry. 18th was Dennis Demers. Guys like that who know they can run with the leaders, they're going to want to pick up as many spots as they can in the early going.
Brad Layton has really turned his year around after coming off a great victory at New Hampshire International Speedway last week. And he's back for this next race. Of course, in front of the Burnham Boilers crowd as well.
You see the fifth place car of Teddy Christopher, followed by Tracy Gordon and Mike Olson.
Ted Christopher has an audience from Les Care Kitchens. The whole crew is up here at Stafford tonight to take a look at their driver. And Christopher, with that Bud Pole Award, certainly gave him something to look at for qualifying. Let's see what he can do for this race, as we've got 11 laps completed so far. Of the ASB 150 at Stafford Motor Speedway, there's Mike Olson right behind the tic-tac machine of Tracy Gordon.
Tracy Gordon tries to do something about that.
Gordon down low on the inside of Christopher, and there he goes.
Well, Mike Olson looks to follow as we go further back in the
Quarterly on the outside of Brian Wall.
Quarterly's another guy who's trying to assert himself, and a lot of people are pointing to Dale Quarterly as the next guy to get his first win in this series. And you could do a lot worse than betting, betting on Dale to do that pretty soon.
Brian Wall qualified 11th here in the Walls Ford Lincoln Mercury. There's Boisenalt, there's Jamie Obey in the 67. A little bit of news coming up later on about Jamie Obey's teammate, Mike Bruno, on the season. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Right now, everybody's going under TC. Teddy Christopher.
Dale Quarterly in the 32, the 96, of course, of Mike Johnson doing the job as well. Teddy seems to be, you know, when you see people passing Teddy Christopher, even this early in a race, you got to figure maybe the car isn't perfect, because he's not one guy who's going to lay back too much.
No, he'll stay up there if he can. He's probably waiting for the track to come into him just a little bit on the 15 laps into this ASB 150. And you'll see Mike Johnson, of course, the winner of last year's events at this track. And he went, I believe that was a flag-to-flag race, was it not?
Yes, he did. He went from the pole, took no tires, as Teddy Christopher did last year. We returned to Kelly Moore in the front of the field. Comfortably in the front of the field, probably about 6 car lengths between him and Martin Truex Jr. already. And you see Brian Wall once again, Dale Quarterly and Mike Johnson.
Ooh, Kovaluk is in there.
Wall gets a little bit high there, but is able to maintain position.
John Wall retired last year from active racing. That's Brian Wall's dad. I just got word from Al Robinson, NASCAR media director, that John Wall will pilot a car at either Watkins Glen or Lime Rock at the end of the season here this year.
A very accomplished road racer, too, is John Wall. Trans Am racer years ago. Dave Dion. Oh, we got a spin.
Barney McRae in the 5 car, and Joey McCarthy in the 41. McRae, heavy damage to the front end of the number 5. We've got another car up there on the track. Is that?
Gary Heath also spun.
Yeah, that is Barney McRae in the 5 and 41 of Joey McCarthy. And heavy damage. Whoa.
Looked like Gary Heath just spun the car to avoid ending up looking like Joey McCarthy's car does at the moment. A treacherous and tricky turn 4 here at Stafford Motor Speedway.
First caution comes on lap number 19. And what looked like a pretty good race so far. Everybody was doing their own thing out there. And, of course, starting in the back as the 41 did. McCarthy was back there in 26th spot. Barney McRae had started 27th. And as we alerted to earlier, they were doing a little bit of racing in the back to try to improve their position. And neither one of these cars are going to be drivable for the foreseeable future. 19 laps complete in the ASB 150 from Stafford Motor Speedway. And you're watching it all on Speedway Heat.
You know, it's only 2 times a year Men's Warehouse has a sale. But the good news is, one of those times is right now. Which means right now, people are saving 20 to 40% off our everyday low prices on styles from corporate to casual. The bad news is, well, there isn't any, unless, of course, you happen to miss it.
Sale in Sunday, August 19th.
You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
Seekonk Grand Prix is better than ever. Come experience our all-new Adventureland miniature golf course. 18 holes of family fun you don't want to miss. Take a spin on the slick track. Catch the wind on the family track. Get started on the kids track or race to victory on the NASCAR track. From our drive your range and bumper boats to the area's hottest game room, Seekonk Grand Prix is 10 acres of family fun. Seekonk Grand Prix, right next to Sam's Club, Route 6 Seekonk. Open 7 days. Seekonk Grand Prix, competitive fun for everyone.
We got a chance to talk with Jim Eisenbeis, Director of Marketing for Burnham Boilers. First of all, Jim, here at the Jackaroo Stafford Motor Speedway, big night here. Talk about your involvement with Burnham Boilers.
Well, I can tell you we've been involved with the Busch North Series for about 7 years now, and we've had a lot of success on and off the track. We're real happy to be here at Stafford. We've got some great weather and looking forward to a great night.
What has this done, being involved in auto racing? What has it done for your company?
You know, if you look at the whole NASCAR program, one of the things that we've done is we've tried to work very hard to make it successful. The Busch North Series here has worked very well for us because we've worked it through all of our programs. It's fully integrated into everything we do. We do a lot of trackside entertainment. We've got close to 225 people here tonight for this hospitality event. And the nice thing is we get to keep those people away from their businesses. We get them away from their business where we can get in front of them and spend some good quality time with them.
Jim Eisenbeis, Director of Marketing for Burnham Boilers. Their car is running in this event. Of course, Brad Lincoln, the driver of that race car.
Teddy Christopher still trying to correct that problem with the motor. Into the pits for the second time. 25 laps complete, 125 to go at Stafford Motor Speedway for the Busch North Series ASB 150.
He's just trying to stay on the lead lap. He's been in and out a couple of times now, following the field back into the pits. It is going to help him in about half a lap because we're going to go green with Kelly Moore still in the lead. They see him here with Martin Truex on the outside.
Martin Truex lost to Brad Layton last weekend at New Hampshire International Speedway. Pretty cool move, too, by Brad.
Oh, it was great.
Oh, excellent race. Ooh! You can't get anything between those two cars right now. Kelly sets the pace.
Unfortunately, you don't get a chance to see that on TV. You know what? Speedway Heat if you want to see the Busch North Series on television.
That's right, absolutely. You can't see it anywhere else. Truex with the lead, gets the jump on the start, gets around Kelly Moore. Roar. Wow.
That was a surprise to everybody. Caught Kelly Moore napping.
It was a surprise to Kelly Moore.
Certainly was.
Single file already, your top 5 cars. Martin Truex Jr., Kelly Moore, Matt Kobielek, Brian Chu, and Tracy Gordon.
These guys are really tiptoeing around the track right now. All over the place. The track is very loose. Our spotter on green reporting he's seeing cars sideways. A lot of dirt tracking going on right now, so we'll want to keep an eye on the entire field.
Shot from the Johnson Lumber speed cam on the track. Johnson Lumber of Salisbury, Massachusetts, also a sponsor of the number 96, driven by Mike Johnson.
Here's our second and third place cars. Matt Kolak in third, being followed by Brian Chu right now. Chu doing a nice job in the early going.
29 laps complete, and we've got two cars on the infield. Dave Dion and Dennis Demers. You see the 86 and the 29. That brings out the caution for the second time.
Whoa,
hey, Paul Richardson into the wall.
Paul Richardson just ended up a field too close together, no place to go. But boy, Demers and Dion went shooting through the infield, shooting right back out on the track in front of the field. Very fortunate this wasn't a lot worse.
Richardson's got his net down in the window, so signifying that he's okay, and we do see a little movement in there. Fluid, though, all over the track. And that number 7 Bellingham sheet metal machine is out for the evening.
Big disappointment to a driver who really showed some, you know, he was really running in first few races of the season, doing really well, qualified well, but hasn't had much luck since then.
30 laps have been complete, and we'll have more racing to go. Lots more, 120 laps and then some. The ASB 150 from Stafford Motor Speedway. You're watching it on Speedway Heat on AT&T.
Tightened it up. In the meantime, they're still going to work on the front of that car. They took off the front fascia, or the rest of the front fascia, on that car. Also, Joe McCarthy has made his way back out onto the Speedway. I did get a chance to talk to Paul Richardson. Paul Richardson did not want to go on camera, but he is not very happy with the driver of car number 29. Dave?
Thanks, Gary, and decidedly so, even though it's a racing accident. His car is awfully loose, but he came down on Richardson pretty hard, and that's going to end his evening. There's Carrie Heath in the Aubuchon hardware machine in the 04. And Carrie made the field. It's nice to see her in there, even though she's starting from the tail. She's got a little work to do to finish up there towards the front tonight. 41 laps have ticked off the board right now. So we're a third of the way there, Tom.
Yeah, you see the 41 of Joey McCarthy. So far, he's got the tape usage of the race award. Man.
Yeah.
The whole front fenders across the hood all taped up heavily with duct tape.
At least you can afford the tape. Dion just skip that process altogether. You got to like Dave's team. I mean, Dave told us once before, look, we have a budget and we stick to it, and they tend to.
And they usually make it work.
And they make it work. So as the laps tick down and the cleanup crews work hard on the track, we'll be back with more. That's it. I'm not competitive. 5 laps down, that's going to do it.
Well, he's not running for points in the Busch North Series, so if he can't contend for the win, there isn't a point.
Green flag in the air once again, and there goes Martin Truex Jr. Man, is he fast. And it takes the other drivers a little bit, but they do catch up to him. But boy, I'll tell you what, he's pulling some gear.
Yeah, I think
on that restart.
Because he brings the field so low, I think they know they've got that advantage, and he's doing a really nice job of taking advantage of it.
What the other drivers ought to do is hang back, if that's possible, at that speed with the gears that they have set up here at Stafford Motor Speedway. Marty Truex Jr., Martin Truex Jr. Don't call me Marty. I don't think I can get away with that. Kelly Moore, Matt Kobaluk, Tracy Gordon has taken over the 4th position from Brian Chu. Now Mike Johnson looks to do the same. You'll see the Johnson Lumber number 96 on the inside of the 09, and Johnson dirt tracks it. A little bit of contact side by side with Chu and pulls off the move.
These guys better be ready to deal with that, because if you're going to pass on the inside, you're going to slide.
There's Quarterly. Darrell Quarterly also smoking the tires in the turn. And Quarterly gets into Chu. Quarterly hammering his way through.
Well, I think Olsen might have been a little bit into the tail of Quarterly, which caused his tail to lift. He lost control, and I think he just kind of used Chu as a berm at that point. And you see Brian Wall there in a 77. Whether Chu sustained any damage, or maybe he's just a little bit unsettled by the contact. Brian Wall takes advantage. Here comes Brad Boissonneau.
I see smoke coming off the Chu car.
Yeah, he's got a problem now.
The 09. Is that tire smoke? Let's keep an eye on the 09. There's poison out on the inside. Something's wrong with that car.
Yeah, it looked like it might be. I think he's actually, the right rear is actually rubbing from that contact.
Yeah.
Boissonneau.
Brian Chu was running 4th here pretty much most of the evening.
And here comes Dale Shaw as well. Boissonneau, the former Pro Stock racer here at Stafford, looking to make his mark here tonight. He ran well up at New Hampshire International Speedway. Top 3 car for much of the race.
Until a late incident in the latter part of the race knocked him back to like 18th place or something. He got involved with an incident with Dale Quarterly, moved him from 3rd to around 16th or 18th. So there's Greg Schaefer and the number 99 Right Way electric machine. Martin Truex Jr. out in front. 53 laps have clipped off. Brian Wall, Brad Boisino, Dale Shaw. There's Matt Kobieluk and Tracy Gordon.
That is a battle right now for, for 3rd place. I'll get it. I just got to count back. You know, it gets a little difficult after I get by 1.
Gonna grow more toes and fingers.
I should need more than 2.
Black flag was in the air for somebody. We'll have to wait for Ron Green to tell us. It's going to be for Brian Chu with that rubbing tire.
Bad break for Brian because he was running really well.
Yeah, he's not going to be able to make the pit road. He's got nowhere to go. Is that tire smoke or not, Ron? Our spotter, Ron Green, will let us know.
He's going to go down and smell it.
Sit down there and earn your pay.
No, that's oil smoke.
Matt Kobieluk, Tracy Gordon. We try to get serious here. Nah. There's Gordon on the inside. Nothing doing as Kobieluk saw him coming. Kobieluk keeps it down way low, knowing that the ace of the tic-tac machine is right there. Kobieluk, Gordon. That's 3rd and 4th, respectively. And another shot from the Johnson Lumber track cam. Things have settled down once again.
And you see the heavily duct tape car of Joey McCarthy as these guys handily get by him.
Tracy Gordon, Matt Kobieluk, still battling it out. Martin Truex Jr. out in front by a healthy length of racetrack, Tom.
Yeah, probably 8-10 car lengths at the moment over Kelly Moore. Everybody's settling in at this point, trying to accumulate some laps. They're also aware of how much trouble people are having right now. Probably nobody out there who's really happy with his car, so they're not going to press too much this early in the race.
Brian Chu behind the wall at Stafford on lap number 57 or lap number 60. Tough break for Brian. Qualified well, qualified 5th again. Kid qualifies in the top 10 all the race, every race. And it's just a lot of bad luck following him this year in his sophomore year in Busch North Racing. There's Kobieluk and Gordon. Gordon has not been as dominant since Holland Speedway in New York. Was the last time around. And of course, Gordon has lost his crew chief. Raleigh LaChance is no longer with the team.
Brian Wall being challenged by Brad Boisino. Brad Boisino looks very strong tonight.
Boisino had a heck of a run at Loudon.
Yep. And you see Dale Shaw following him.
This is right around the 10th position on the track. Brian Wall is settled down quite a little bit himself this year. I think they have a new focus and a new direction, and he's been consistent. Hasn't really turned a lot of heads, but he's still there, and he's doing a pretty good job this year. Brian Wall 7th in the Busch North points. 1 top 5, 7 top 10s.
That's Greg Schaefer. You see a bit behind Dale Shaw.
Burnham Boilers, in association with the Sheridan Harborside Portsmouth Hotel, presents Speedway Heat. Brian Wall, Brad Boisino. Boisino's right there on the inside. Here he comes off of turn 4. Nothing doing as he falls back in line. Here comes Dale Shaw, though. Shaw looks on the inside of the 36 car. Can't get it done. Here comes Boisino.
Boy, Brian Wall went very high coming out of 2. Boisino looks to take advantage of that. I believe this is a battle for 8th right now.
And
Boisino's car looks pretty good. He was able to keep it down there and stay out of trouble.
Not bad.
Stay off of the inside of Brian Wall's car. And Dale Shaw looks to do the same thing right now.
Boisino with only 3 starts. This would be his 4th start this year in the Busch North Series.
Dale Shaw not quite so clean getting to the inside of Wall there. He takes Greg Schaefer with him.
Schaefer in the 99, testing on a regular basis now. Really doing very, very well since he started that program. That regimen of going out to the different tracks, spending a little more time, a little more money on them.
Greg Schaefer's looking pretty good here. Well, with a top 10 car at the moment. Keeping pace right with Dale Shaw. Boissonneau's able to open up a bit of a gap. But an awful long way to go if he wants to catch up to Dale Quarterly, well ahead of him.
Kelly Moore being hunted by the number 40 Mohegan Sun machine of Matt Kobieluk. Kobieluk doing that Indian thing, sneaking right up on him, silent. When he least expects it. Wham. But right now, Kelly looks like he's in pretty good shape. But Kobieluk is there. Quite a little bit of distance there. I'd say about 6 car lengths between the 40 and the 47. Truex still up in front. Of course, Kelly's in second.
And you see Tracy Gordon behind Kobieluk about the same distance. We go back to this battle between Shaw and Schaefer. Wall keeps pace.
Coming up on the halfway point of this race.
Billy Penfold in this pack as well. He's doing a nice job tonight. He had to pack up and go home the last time they were here. Blew an engine in qualifying, so things are a little better tonight for him.
Dale Shaw, Greg Schaefer, Brian Wall in that group of cars. There is Billy Penfold, as you mentioned. 4 laps to go before we're at the halfway point of the ASB 150.
Well, I'll tell you, Schaefer's giving Dale Shaw all he can handle right now.
You see what Schaefer can do with the veteran.
Well, he's better be careful. He doesn't want to get into the back of him. Try to make that move inside, and then you've got to be really strong to hold that car together and be very, very lot of finesse to be able to brake and carry the speed without it getting loose.
After last week's incident at New Hampshire International Speedway, Shaw will not come down on Greg Schaefer. So Schaefer runs him clean on the inside. Shaw will stay up there and hold his line. As they get into a little bit of lap traffic, Terry Heath in the Aubuchon hardware machine.
Of course, Dave refers to the situation where Shaw got into the back of Dale Quarterly, while in third, there goes Greg Schaefer.
Schaefer goes around. Heath avoids trouble. Brian Hoare gets by him.
The yellow comes out, of course.
Just before the halfway mark at lap number 74.
Schaefer might have benefited from a little more patience in that situation. Oh, he would have benefited from a lot of patience in that situation.
Yeah, he's
tried to get on it so fast to get back to the pits. He went right up into the wall.
Tough break for Greg Schaefer. He's doing so very well there. Stafford Motor Speedway, Gary Danko on pit road. Gary?
Well, another car behind the wall, the number 09 of Brian Chu. They broke a valve spring on that machine. He is sitting behind the wall, very dejected, but certainly a talented race car driver. Not going to be able to finish the American Seaburn 150. Dave?
Thanks, Gary. Tough luck for Brian Chu. As we were saying, the luck of that team is just positively dismal. I think that qualifies very, very well. It'll happen for him soon, but right now it's happening for Martin Truex Jr. with the green flag being shown.
That 62 car on the outside, that's Roger Raymond. He's actually well behind. Not a factor at the moment.
And right behind him, of course, Kelly Moore, Tracy Gordon, and Matt Kobieluk. 1, 2, 3, and 4.
That's where the action is.
Things will start tightening up here with just under 70 laps to go. Got a problem with the 16 car over in turn 1, I believe. As Ron Green, our spotter, has noticed that he has hit the wall there. You see the left rear damage to that car. Kidney Stockwell in the flooring network machine. He's still going.
And so is the race. It's still under green.
Marquis now takes a turn at hitting the wall up in turn 1, but he keeps rolling as well. There's Jerry's car, but the right side of that car, and here comes, it's, of course, Dale Quarterly in the 32 Land Lakes machine. So much action, so few cameras. Just get to one. We've got to go to another one. So Quarterly goes around, and that brings out the caution.
Well, we had just caught a quick shot of him side by side to the inside of somebody. Didn't get a chance to see who that was, but whether he just kind of carried too much speed into the corner trying to not lose any ground, whether there might be some fluids or something. A lot of speedy dries been put into 3 and 4 tonight, so maybe just the speedy dry hadn't really been cleared yet. Well, these guys started racing wheel to wheel.
Take a look at what happened here with Quarterly. It looks like another incident where somebody just overdrove. There's Quarterly on the inside of that. Looks like Mike Johnson.
That would be my guess.
Johnson, does he make contact? No. I think he just didn't have anywhere to go with Roger Raymond in front of him. He gets on the binders.
Yeah, she had to get on the brakes, and that was all she wrote.
And Olson, whoa!
Yes.
Olson saves the right front of that car.
Boysono, Demers, Layton, Tom Bowles, Dale Shaw. A bunch of guys did a nice job to stay out of trouble there.
So Dale Quarterly in the Land O'Lakes machine. A big Y on the hood of that car. Big Y on the front of that car is a supermarket chain here in Connecticut. Last week he had Market Basket up in New Hampshire.
Little help from Land O'Lakes.
Yeah, Land O'Lakes is selling a little bit of butter. Let's go back to pit road. Gary Danko.
Well, thank you, Dave. I talked to the crew for Kelly Moore. They said that the Napa Auto Parts Chevrolet right now, it's just riding. Kelly saying the car is very, very good, and they're just going to follow the tire tracks for the time being of car number 56. Dave?
Well, Gary, you've got pretty good ratings, and I'm sure Martin Truex Sr. just told his son exactly what you said.
I was just going to say, that's wonderful news for the Truex team.
So, there's Martin Truex Jr. He knows he's got Kelly Moore behind him. He's going to bide his time. There's Kippy Stockwell getting ready to go into the pits, as well as Dale Quarterly. We're at lap number 85 under caution in the ASB 150 from Stafford Motor Speedway, lap number 104. Gary Danko is talking to the senior Martin Truex. Gary?
Well, thank you, Dave. I'll tell you, your son has got a very, very strong race car tonight. You guys elected not to come down pit road. How strong is that car?
That car is really excellent right now. He's just getting better each lap. We're just riding. I'm just trying to keep him ahead of the guys here, you know, giving him his lap times. He was talking. No, we're just trying to keep pace and stay ahead. I think we got a great car here.
Do you miss driving yourself?
Well, I'm having a good time right now doing this, you know.
Okay, that's Martin Truex Sr. He's very proud of his son as he's leading the American Sleep-Bearing 150. Also, some other cars that came down on pit road. Mike Olson came down for 2 right-side tires and fuel. I also talked to Kelly Moore's crew once again. I said, you guys fell back to 4th. They said, Gary, don't worry about that. We got caught up on the outside. Wait, we have a very, very strong race car. This one is far from over yet. We'll have to see what happens. Dave?
Thanks, Gary. Single file restart now as we cross the 100-lap mark. It'll be that way until the end of the race. 105 laps have been complete. Martin Truex Sr. won 1 race in his career. It came at New Hampshire International Speedway. I don't know how many his kid has won, but he's kicking his dad's butt.
Well, that's where he won his first race. Look at the thing for NHIS. Let's see what Tracy Gordon can do on this restart. No better than anybody else.
We got contact going into 1 between a couple of drivers, but it looks like everybody's clear of that. Martin Truex Jr. right out in front, followed by Tracy Gordon, Mike Olson, Kelly Moore, Dennis Demers, and Brad Boisenol. And single file, everybody's trying to catch up to Truex Jr.
And nobody's doing a very good job of it.
Gordon can't keep up with him either. He's pulling everybody down the front stretch and the back stretch. Olson's pretty fast. He's right there with Tracy Gordon. Olson might have something for him in that little Trees machine.
He seems to be able to brake just a little bit later, too. He gets a little deeper into the corner. Once again, as they went into turn 1. And now he's sticking right with him. So this might be, he may go for this pass on the inside. Let's take a look.
Can Olson pull one out of his hat tonight? 108 laps, 109 when we cross the line. Gordon's going way up high on the track.
And Kelly Moore does look awful strong as he follows right behind Olson. Probably, yeah, he's going to stay there because he knows Olson's looking to go to the inside. He's going to see if he can do that himself.
Mike Olson looks on the inside of the tic-tac machine. The number 14, Tracy Gordon, faltered somewhat in the latter part of the season here. Last 4 or 5 races, not terribly dominant, but not bad either. Tracy Gordon is still up there with the points, 5th in points. Not too far off the pace. Still with 1 victory, 3 top 5s, 8 top 10s.
Mike Olson, now I think Mike Olson is showing the sort of patience that some of these other guys should have shown earlier. And there it goes, and it pays for him.
Olson takes over the position. Kelly Moore tried to follow him under, but couldn't do it as Gordon shut the door on him. Now let's see if Olson's got anything for Martin Truex Jr. on lap number 112 as we start to tick off the final laps of the ASB 150 at Stafford Motor Speedway.
Evidently, turn 1 is just that much less treacherous than turn 3 is. Mike Olson makes it pay and starts to pull away from Tracy Gordon. And now Kelly Moore is looking to get around Gordon. I guess beyond Gordon would work.
Sure. Kovaluk working his way up through the pack. On the inside of Layton, here comes Johnson. Brad Layton not having a great night. He's got damage to the front end of that car. The right front all balled up a little bit, rubbing.
Yeah, it's rubbing for sure.
He's going to have to get that taken care of, or he's going to find himself with a cut tire.
Well, he wrinkled sheet metal really early in this race. First few laps had to come in, take on tires. It's been a tough night for Brad Layton after he had run so strongly in the last few races in the Busch North Series.
Burnham Boilers machine. The Burnham Boilers driver, though, will be okay, regardless of where he finishes tonight, coming off a victory at New Hampshire International Speedway last week. Folks from Burnham here had a great hospitality tent, a VIP tent, and an event for all of their distributors here in Connecticut and Massachusetts. And they are putting on a good show, too. 35 laps to go.
We shot at Dale Shaw. He was probably about 8th or 10th, I would say. With Tom Bowles just ahead of him.
It's Martin Truex Jr., Mike Olson, Tracy Gordon, and Kelly Moore, your first 4 drivers.
So this is that battle for third once again. Tracy Gordon, Kelly Moore.
Well, if Kelly's going to do something, I would suggest probably right about now would be a good time, John.
Yeah, we're up to lap 116, and he still would have his work cut out for him to be able to reel in the 2 cars ahead of him.
Ooh, Gordon's almost sideways. He's fighting it. He's fighting it hard. Kelly's coming up on the inside. Kelly doesn't have quite the position as Gordon's still able to motor away.
Still not able to do it. We hear about how strong Kelly Moore's car is. Tracy Gordon looks to be hanging on, but he's still getting the job done.
Gordon's back end swaying all over the place as he comes off of that turn 4.
Wider every lap, too, it looks like. Probably only a matter of time.
That time a little goosey off of turn 2. Watch the back end of the tic-tac machine when he comes off the gear. And that time it was actually pretty clean.
Yeah, he held it in nice that time. We get around the lap car of Joey McCarthy. Another driver who's had a tough night tonight.
I was surprised they put that car back together and got it going again.
But it's a good move.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Joey McCarthy needs the laps. He's doing a good job, but the more the better.
Martin Truex Jr.
Yes, Martin Truex. And I'll tell you, Mike Olson's starting to reel him in a bit.
30 laps to go. Is he going to have time?
Well, it's about an 8-car length lead right now for Martin Truex, but I don't think it's long before you see Mike Olson. There you see him.
So who do you think Olson's radioing to into the pits looking for a caution? What are you guys in the back? You want to help me out here, bud? Love your car smelling like a rose for the next 5 years. Mike Olson. Pull him in a little bit. Lap traffic now will start to come in about another 2 or 3 laps as Truex will get up to Roger Raymond and then have some company up front.
Keeping an eye on Mike Olson as he makes his way around the track. We're about, he's maybe 4 car lengths as we go back to this battle. Tracy Gordon probably about 8 car lengths. And you don't have to count car lengths when it comes to Kelly Moore behind Gordon.
Yeah.
No car lengths.
Well, you got to figure when Kelly will... Here comes Kelly now on the inside. Gordon stays up, holds the line. Kelly Moore drag races. There he goes. Tracy lets him go. So that's enough.
Well, the last thing you wanted to do was be side by side with anybody going into turn 3. Nice job by both of these veteran drivers. You see Tracy Gordon, and then you see the, obviously enough, Kelly Moore's now showing you how much more car he has than Gordon.
Took him a while to get around him. Hopefully it didn't hurt him too much. We're going to kick down to the last 25 laps right now.
But there's almost a straightaway between Mike Olson and Kelly Moore at this point. 25 laps to go. That's a long distance.
Olson's got Truex Jr. in his sights, but it's a 10-car length lead between second and first. There's the rest of the field in the back. We just saw a good shot of Jerry Marquis. There's Kelly, Tracy. Looks like Dennis Demers is in there as well in the 86 wheel and engineering machine. There he is. Gordon and Demers. Gordon will be pretty lucky if he can hang on to that fourth spot on the track.
Again with Tracy Gordon.
Just a little bit of tape on that car.
Whoa, there you go. We were looking for that.
They almost kissed the wall again. Racing hard. He's looks like he's probably run those tires right off of it about now, with just under 20 laps to go, just over 20 laps to go.
Now Truex is caught up to Roger Raymond.
Raymond doesn't
Gets around
present a
him.
problem, yeah.
The veteran Roger Raymond certainly knows how to stay out of trouble.
Raymond, obviously no deals were being made in the pits between Roger Raymond and Mike Olson. Raymond could have held up Truex for just a little bit. So the young Truex looking for victory number 2 on the year.
Kelly Moore once again not really reeling in Mike Olson at all at this point. Martin Truex pretty handily in the lead as we get into lap 130.
And looks like Brad Layton's got more problems as you see the smoke from his car affecting the leader. And Layton had some contact, I think.
Yeah, he's going back into the pits. Look at the front of that car.
Tough night for the Burnham Boilers crew.
Whoa, he's having a hard time. Whoa.
Spins it around as some of the metal comes off.
Yeah, that just sort of finished off the last little threads that were holding that front end on.
In the ASB 150 from Stafford Motor Speedway, you're watching it on Speedway Heat.
Visit Gladstone Ford Chrysler, located in Londonderry, New Hampshire. You'll find over 300 pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Deals like this: 2000 model Ford Focuses, automatic, ice-cold air conditioning, still under factory warranty. That's right, Gladstone Ford Chrysler is your Blue Oval certified dealer. Route 102, Londonderry, New Hampshire, just off exit 4 of Route 93.
On the inside of Layton.
Brad Layton, two-time defending NASCAR Busch North champion, driver of the Burnham Boilers number 55. It's a demanding schedule, 21 races, countless autograph sessions, and thousands of laps on the track. So what does Brad Layton do in his spare time?
I was told to deliver this to Sheridan.
Burnham Boilers with the Sheridan Harborside Hotel, sponsors of the 55 NASCAR Busch North game.
To keep cool, elephants flap their ears and spray themselves with water. Fortunately, you don't have to resort to such primitive methods. Armstrong air conditioners are built tough to keep your house cool and comfortable inside, even if it feels like a jungle outside. Armstrong Air, strength you can rely on.
Yeah.
For Armstrong products, call Furnace and Duct Supply Company, Inc. of Providence.
Hit a grand slam and family entertainment value. The average Major League Baseball ticket is $23.88. Almost $100 for a family of 4. So where does a family go for affordable sports entertainment? NASCAR racing at Seekonk Speedway, Route 6, Seekonk, Massachusetts, every Saturday at 6 p.m. 10 minutes from Providence and only 46 minutes from Boston. On most Saturdays, 2 adults and 2 kids up to age 14 are only $25. For more information, call 508-336-9959.
4 laps to go, and we get the restart here at the ASB 150 from Stafford Motor Speedway. If you'd like to read about it, check it out in Trackside Magazine.
Yeah, you can read the column of Steve Grabowski. He is Trackside's Busch North specialist and usually talks to a different Busch North driver with every monthly issue.
Great magazine. And also, we believe he's the copy editor or writer for the Herald. Boston Herald, I believe.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I believe he's a copy editor.
Copy editor.
He also covers their racing.
There you go.
That's a surprise.
Does a good job, too. Yeah, I know. Boston newspaper covering short track racing here in the Northeast. But he does a good job, and he's always at most of the races. Here we go. Green flag is poised by Billy Ryder, Martin Truex Jr., Mike Olson. There goes Marty. And there's Martin and Mike Olson, actually. And I'll tell you what, ain't nobody catching that kid tonight.
Yeah, that answers that question, huh?
8 car lengths ahead of him. And they'll be taking a close look at that 56 there tonight and the post-race inspection, as they do with anybody that does very, very, very well. They have a pretty good tech process here with the Busch North crew.
And they've been very tight lately in the Busch North Series technical inspection, really trying to tighten things up.
But Truex Jr., excellent driver, getting the experience he needs. And, we got a problem between Kip Stockwell and Jerry Marquis on the grass on lap 148.
They're in there somewhere.
Marquis continues to have the car move. Stockwell continues to move. We've got one lap left to go as the white flag is in the air. Lost my teeth there for a minute, Tom. Sorry about that.
They're right here.
There you go. Mike Olson, Martin Truex Jr. Olson's not going to be able to get it done, I don't believe. Off of turn 4.
A little bit of traffic in the way of those
Martin
fun
Truex
cars.
Jr., Mike Olson, Kelly Moore, Tracy Gordon, Dennis Demers. And the finish of the ASB 150. On the inside of Layton.
Brad Layton, defending champion of the NASCAR Busch North Series. The driver of the Burnham Boilers Sheridan Harborside number 55 will appear at 27 car shows, 56 autograph sessions, and complete thousands of laps. So when there is a break in the action, where does Brad go to relax?
Welcome to the Sheridan, Mr. and Mrs. Layton.
Burnham Boilers with the Sheridan Harborside Hotel, sponsors of the 55 NASCAR Busch North team.
Martin Truex Jr. Another victory, and a very convincing one.
And once again, we'll get back to Gary Danko and Victory Lane here in just a few moments as we await for Martin Truex Jr. to climb out of the car.
Yeah, let's check this out.
Don't stand on the roof, Marty. There you go. He doesn't.
The bashful Gary Danko.
Now, whose hair looks better, Martin Truex Jr.'s or Gary Danko's?
Absolutely,
Gary Danko in Victory Lane. Gary?
Well, thank you, Dave. Martin Truex Jr. picks up his second career win, and it comes here at the Stafford Motor Speedway. Actually, it's your third win, and I'll tell you, what a job you did tonight. You certainly had a strong car. Nobody was catching you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Hats off to this crew, Kevin, my dad, Ronnie, everybody that gets these cars prepared, and just put an awesome car underneath me tonight, and, all I had to do was drive it to as hard as I could every lap, and everything worked out for the best.
A lot of drivers were complaining to their crew chiefs that their cars were loose. Your car looked flawless here tonight.
Yeah, actually, we were just a little bit too tight there in the beginning of the race, and, right there at the end, it freed up a little bit. Just an awesome night for us, and, I thought we were going to get a win last week, and come back and get it this week. It's pretty special.
Martin Truex Jr. wins the American Sleeve Bearing 150 here at the Stafford Motor Speedway.
Thanks, Gary. Martin finished second at New Hampshire International Speedway last week, first here at Stafford. He's on a roll. And we've seen some pretty good racing here tonight in the ASB 150 from Stafford Motor Speedway. And when we come back, Tom Ring will have a recap of the results for us and the closing here from Stafford Motor Speedway on Speedway Heat.